country they're
Isn't
from.
that interesting, though? It's interesting.
Yeah, Bosnia, Ecuador, Spain, you name it. This is the first question. How is my child acting in your classroom?
It's true.
You know what the gentrifier's first question is? How are you challenging my child?
That's great.
You think it's a joke? It's not a joke. For folks at home, that's literally how it goes.
Hello and welcome to This is Uncle Seth week. This is WAWTAR, why we're talking about rabbits, and today we have Uncle Seth, our new world. Well, he's really kind of old world. He doesn't know it all the time, but our new world spokesperson from Chicago is going to join us, and what we're going to do is try to figure out, like, all these loose ends that we haven't talked about in 2 months. We're going to tie them up on episode 56, WAWTAR, with Uncle Seth in Chicago. Uncle Seth.
Hola.
How's it going?
How's everybody doing? So good to be back. A pleasure, as always.
Your mic sounds good. It sounds like you're comfortable there in Chicago in your basement.
I am. This is a real sanctuary down here for me.
If you say internet, interweb, and then in your basement, that's probably not the two best ideas, like
Right.
strung together.
Right. Separate that.
You are. I'm in the guest room.
I'm on the internet in my basement, in my grotto, in my.
Let's use grotto. Live from Chicago, Uncle Seth in his grotto, in his self-made studio, in his grotto. So from your grotto, here's the thing, and I'm quoting you. I'm going to go with something like December as the COVID vaccine was rolling out. And remember on this show, guys.
Oh, you're getting right into the.
I'm going right into
huh?
it. I just want to get there.
Let's do it.
Remember on the show, we do old world, new world. A lot of the times it shakes out red and blue. It's not red and blue. Seth and I are both new world, but we tend to argue along these lines. Yeah, that's true. It's true. So, I mean, your father was a sitar player born in India, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty old school.
Old world. Yeah.
So check it out. You did quote, as my Chicago friend, during that time, COVID was rolling out, and you said something that I agreed with. We were not fighting. Well, we don't really fight. Well, we do this. You said, look, I understand you don't want to get it, but pretty soon it's going to look like this. The people who want to get the vaccine is going to reduce COVID for them. They're going to become safe. And then all the dumb people, or me, will not get it, and then they'll just infect one another. And he's like, and that's fine. That's what's going to happen. Remember that?
Saying that? Yeah, for sure.
But now, this is my question to you. This seems like mandates are coming, doesn't it?
What, mask mandates?
No, shot mandates.
Oh, well, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, really? You don't think they're coming? That's interesting. So is that a paranoia by me?
Yes.
Is it though?
I can't say it. Yeah, I can't say it any more clearly. Yes. Here's my thing. I know what you're going to say. Here's where I think
Why don't you just let people get COVID in peace? I don't really get this.
Right, exactly.
Go ahead.
Here's my point. It's you who have politicized this. It's so inane. Now, because you've there are vaccine mandates, and there's been vaccine mandates for decades. Nobody's bum rushing the Capitol and
I did not do that, by the way.
Yeah, no, I know that.
Please don't count me.
No one's doing that because their 5-year-old daughter had to get the polio vaccine to go into pre-K. It's like, oh, we just accept that. That's fine, whatever. But what happened was this became politicized by you.
Wait, I'm a stand-in here for.
You're right for your people.
But
why am I lead your people? Okay, so just listen,
go ahead.
Listen. Because in anything other than anything absence in the absence of politics, it's just a no-brainer that, hey, something's going around. It's not a conspiracy because, gee, the leader of North Korea, the leader of South Korea, the German epidemiologists, those in France, those in Tehran, the best scientists in Tehran, the best scientists in
Tehran?
Mozambique, they all agreed. So there's no conspiracy to seize power and liberty from people. Because
do you know that there were 3, apparently this is true. There were 3 leaders. Were you there for that talk? There were 3 leaders.
I think I repressed it.
There were 3 leaders apparently in Zimbabwe and in Haiti. And there was one other that said no, and they're all dead now.
Oh my God. This is just, it's incredible to me. And so what is incredible to me, I find what is incredible to me, and that what I think I find you getting frustrated with, is you can't believe I believe something like that. That's what pisses me off about you. You know, I can't believe that you would. I mean, just answer.
Wait,
right
believe
now.
Which part? The 3 dead guys? Or
no. Not the
okay.
3 dead guys.
Believe.
I think it's funny. I think it's a funny anecdote.
Well, the Haitian guy.
I'm just saying that
guy.
out of countries, every single country on the planet, and 99% of their best scientists
are like,
believe
let's go,
that this was the right course. Get people to wear some masks, develop a vaccine, get it out, and just nip it in the bud. That it taken in, the light of day. That's all it was. Okay. Right. There's something happened. We better err on the side of caution.
Okay.
And in the same way, if something were coming around that were far deadlier, it seems like your defense of this is that it wasn't, not enough people died.
Yeah.
And that's slippery, really a weird thing to do.
Okay. I think you're into something there. So I will say this. There is a sense, and I won't call it old world. I will call it, there is a religious thing in this. There's a religious angle. People who are fundamentally aware of death and then also attribute a next life. Basically, the people I know that think that way, that's a very basic religious principle, that there's a next life. People who are very focused on that idea, they're like, I'm going to die. And then the next question is, okay, will this thing kill me? Will this thing be the one? And then there's just such a small possibility.
Yeah, correct.
And then people say, wait, I'm going to upturn my whole life.
I feel it. Yes, I feel that. And if it were just the GP in Topeka telling you to do something, but every country on earth, regardless of political persuasion, every epidemiologist, of course, you're going to say, I went on YouTube, I can show you eight people. Okay, but I'm saying
that's actually real, though.
Okay,
it's not every. Sweden didn't mask up.
What? Listen, but it was an evolving thing that we realized. I think we came to this realization that masks did matter.
What we did? Agree? No. And I don't want to argue the weeds. You would have to say this in order for you to make sense to me or to anybody else. You would really have to say it's a consensus. You would really have to say that.
Actually, and I take it back. It doesn't even matter if masks mattered. What mattered is almost a consensus. I mean, it is a consensus. A consensus agreed that every single country on the planet said, this is what we should do. Limit large gatherings, mask up, and see what happens.
All right, cool.
And then, okay, so absence of any politics, it was happening everywhere. Okay, now,
okay,
go ahead.
No, go ahead. Well, you're saying that the advice was in some ways united.
Universal. Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
Great. Fine. What you have is consensus among the scientific community, people who study viruses, that these things could help. But you did not have a consensus that they were actually helping. There is not a consensus. No way. You can't prove it. LA County masked up like crazy, and those guys died.
I understand that.
There wasn't a clear consensus.
I understand that. I understand.
I mean, let me put there was a consensus among the scientists. There was not clear evidence that masking was helping anybody.
Okay, I understand that.
Do you believe that?
Okay, I believe that is probably true, but I also believe that after they did that experiment and then ran experiments to figure out why might this not be worth it? Is it worth it? They still came up with the idea that, we don't know. It's probably better. And that makes sense.
Okay, keep going. But go back to my idea. Go back to my idea. You could say probably better. Why don't you just leave people alone at that point? To me, I mean, shouldn't the vaccine and mask sell itself?
Here's why.
Why do you have to tell me to do something when I'm subject to the thing?
It doesn't sell itself.
I'm subject. So why doesn't it sell itself? There's a sucker born every
minute.
So you have to fix all the suckers, like the smart people. The new worlders have to fix the old worlders. I don't get this. Yeah, kind of. If only we could educate them.
Here's the whole thing. Well, here's the whole thing. I'm willing to say that there are more old worlders that are on my side than yours.
So there are more people that tend toward old world concepts like
not Americans though.
So you're going geographical old worlders, people from Europe?
Yeah. People from
Europe, I would call them new worlders. I think they've adopted an Enlightenment style thought process.
Fine. I'll even say Americans that are traditional value people.
So do this. I know you have a theory that that the left is actually starting to claim the ground of patriotism. Now, the left here is not necessarily New World, but it definitely leans that way. So are you saying that New World ideas about vaccine and science, they're starting to be the patriotic position?
Well, yeah. And it was an easy win that, the Democrats just frittered away fruitlessly. I think Biden mentioned once, it's really patriotic to mask up. And then it was off the sheet of notes. And
because patriotism is not that cool for New World scientific types.
What the thing is they would have hurt the people that are not getting vaccines, because it would have taken away their biggest weapon, which is to scream patriotism. Right. I die on this hill. Their hill is always some Costco. Somebody's they're gonna do it at Target. I'll buy this plastic
I've heard this
storageware. It's crazy. It's crazy, and they're still doing it.
I know, but you have not answered, even since our earlier, our main COVID conversations. We're tying stuff up, by the way. You can look on the board. We're knotting stuff up. No, one of the things that's not been knotted up from you, Mr. Chicago New World, in your grotto, is there. You don't seem to have a line. Like, if you get a knock on the door from the government saying that you don't have evidence, and I'm talking about like they lost it, because I think you did. I mean, I'm not going to call you out for vaccine or no vaccine, but if people are knocking on your door and you go, I did that.
Right.
Is that a line that now that you're stuck, the government wants you to prove that you took the vaccine? Is that a line that you'd be like, this has gone too far? Can anything go too far for you in the grotto? What looks bad from the grotto? What's
gone bad in the grotto? Things have gone bad in the grotto, ladies and gentlemen.
That's part 2 of tonight's.
last time John was here.
Yeah. By the way, I walked into the grotto and they were all wearing masks to receive me when I went up to see
mask and face shield.
Masks and face shields. And they're like, "Hey man, have a drink." That was cool. I was like, "Great. How can you drink?"
And then he said, oh, and he smirked and giggled, and then he reached right for his mask and started to put it on.
I did. I'm agreeable. What do you call it? I'm those people. Sure, whatever you need, buddy. Oh,
yeah, but see, why would you be agreeable with us and people that you have not met or seen in a long time and not with a stranger?
Well, number one is I put my mask on when I go into places where I feel people are fearful.
What I'm interested in why you did it when you walked into my house.
I probably the same. There's some kind of empathy. I don't want to upset you. It could be a weakness, It could be something that, when they're putting people on, hey, let me help you put that guy in the train. Looks like you're having trouble with it. I mean, I'm not claiming any, I'm not claiming any greatness here. I'm just saying it could be a weakness.
Not with comments like that.
I'm just saying, I don't want to be the guy that's just like, hey, I feel bad for you.
Believe me, nobody was thinking you were great.
I know. Well, but I did help you.
You did it because
I was in your house.
Let's call it empathy, whatever.
Okay.
But I just don't feel that.
You're not afraid at all about government intervention on a level that looks like totalitarianism. You're good to go.
No. I am afraid, but you guys think
I thought New Worlders were afraid of that.
No. You like this mindless, slippery slope argument that is so impedes progress.
Aha.
That's well because said. It's true. It is because what people always think is it's a slope. Okay, if this happens, it starts an inexorable roll down, and this is bound to happen. What people should see it as is just a level. Okay, and sometimes it's there, but then it swings
back.
It can swing back. That's right, and that's the difference.
It depends. Do you remember I was teaching a class? I think you were still there. No, you had left. It was back when the Supreme
sleeping through them. So
no, this was at the high school down in Florida.
Oh, okay.
And I was teaching a class. It was with a bunch of seniors, and it was when the Supreme Court was ruling on gay marriage. And everybody in the room basically was like, what's the problem? People love each other, they get married. And I tried to take a platonic look at it, and we went through it. Plato says the same stuff, which is at some point the realignment, for instance, of marriage in that case, the realignment, it has physics to it. In other words, in realigning your mind to think a certain way, then if you fix your mind to understand A, B, C, and D will follow. It's just how it works.
Right. But all you're doing is just justifying that model, slippery slope. And if you can accept it in your, however you're using it, then what'll happen is it will be accepted in every other thing. Well, like if you see what I'm saying?
Well, no, yes, but here's what I'm trying to say is that some decisions made within a culture, some decisions made by whether it be the leaders or in a democratic
heavier
culture,
marbles than the other one.
Well, they're like canaries in a coal mine. It's not so much that they change everything; they tell you something. So that going back to the gay marriage,
you think marriage was like one of these?
Well, watch. This is what I mean by COVID too. Definitely what I mean by 9/11, but. When marriage becomes accepted between two people based on love, then it's very hard on a rational scale to say, why can't three people love each other and get married? And you'll see today.
Oh my God.
No, you see it right now. There's propositions for three people to be married, bro. That's happening. Whether you like it or not, you can go and look it up. It's very simple. There's television shows because there's no.
And so when that happens, then what?
Well, what happens is
realignment.
It's a realignment. And so what I was trying to say is I don't care what your position on marriage is that decision by the Supreme Court allows for a whole domino of other decisions to happen because that's how culture works. So I think you were going there anyway with gay marriage. I think we were going toward, but the problem now is I don't want to hear New World. I don't want to hear you guys in Chicago in the grotto saying it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about COVID. It just doesn't matter.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Who? Why would I say
that? Just put on the mask. Take the shot. Don't worry about who loves who. No, that itself is a type of world view. And so when you tell me all that stuff, I just say like that. Oh yeah, I understand why you're saying that because you have a world view.
Yeah, that's
right. And your world view, I don't have to buy your world view. But you don't get to go like, what difference does it make? Just do it, dude. Because it makes a difference. It makes a difference with the Supreme
Court. On Lake Michigan.
See, that's the weird part. Explain for the listeners, what does Chicago somehow to me is like Polish. And those cats seem older. But here you are. Like, who's in your neighborhood?
I'm half Polish.
Who do you live with? Like, who are the people there that are lining up for the shot in January?
Okay, I can tell you. In my little hamlet, which I affectionately call, it's Lincoln Square, and I say it's the Naperville of Chicago. And if you were
what does that mean?
From Chicago, you wouldn't think it's that funny either, but I think it's funny. So I keep saying it. You know what it means is that it's like a Naperville I use as a generic.
You said you wouldn't think it's that funny, and that's why I keep saying it. So, ladies and gentlemen, you know this is not going to end well, but go ahead. I want to hear it.
I just use that as the butt of a joke, of something that's like suburban,
But it's in downtown. It's just like it's right down.
Well,
it's right in the city.
Downtown, though. That's how you know somebody's not from.
I know
Chicago.
exactly.
Downtown. What are you talking
big
about?
Buildings.
Yeah, right. You're downtown.
So what? You'll make New York mistakes. I'll make you make New York. You'll be like, hey guys, let's go uptown.
You see,
and you'd be all going the wrong way. You're like, no, you're going toward the river, man. Don't worry about it. You see
how anybody's at a party and runs into another person from New York, all of a sudden they start doing that street name dance. Oh, I'm 6th and Bleecker.
That's right.
Oh, exactly. Alphabet City, D. Exactly. And they're like, oh yeah, I used to know. They start spitting street names.
That's why not, man. That's how it works. But you Chicago people, I don't even know. All I know is South Side, and then I know something about Northwestern. Like where? Who's walking around claiming the things you claim?
Around here are, I'm in a place that's not far from where I grew up, but it became gentrified. And not far from where Allison grew up either. We're kind of in our neighborhoods, but there's not many Chicagoans left.
They came in. Oh, that's what the Naperville thing's about.
Correct. And so the majority are from out of a neighboring state, have a job in finance,
tech,
because it takes money to we lucked into our place, and
it's gentrified, So let me ask you this: you take 200 parents walking around in your neighborhood, you put them in a room, and then they say, this is what school's going to look like. This is what schools. And
I was just at a meeting.
Is it masks?
About this. Are they wearing masks?
Well, not right now. Are they going to argue for masks for their kids in school?
It doesn't have to be argued. Chicago Public Schools announced that.
But this is the weird part about.
And I got to tell you something.
But so what? I don't care about what you guys. You love to just like the government said, the CDC said it. That's so interesting.
You think?
I thought that was supposed to be. I thought liberals fought stuff. I thought they fought them.
We're doing a sit-in for masks. In fact, I'm taking it to a next level. On the first day of school, I'm going to self-immolate for people
terrible.
to wear. I know. Hey, Andrew, cut that.
No,
dude.
don't cut that.
Cut that.
That is so ridiculous. But I get that.
God.
I was going to make some
remember
60s references too. I was just about to.
A Ken Stater or something like that.
I was going to be. I thought you guys were like Noam Chomsky people. Like you didn't trust the government. Like what happened to Noam Chomsky?
Listen, no.
Now you're like the CDC just said
it. Yeah, but you conflated a virus that is the naturally occurring thing in nature with a government conspiracy, and not even a conspiracy. I'm not saying this conspiracy. With a government agenda, or with some contrived, some perceived loss of liberty.
Yeah, man, because the people who gave you your beloved vaccine are massive international pharmaceutical companies totally in cahoots with the government. And you're like, I know it's fine. It's fine. I trust their liquid.
But this isn't.
I love it. I thought you guys fought.
I only trust night water.
Night water. That's hot. Guys,
somebody just told me. I wish I could take credit for that. Somebody just told me that his buddy says that. I thought it was hysterical. Night water.
Everyone's running to the cupboard right now for some night water. Honey, don't worry. I was grabbing a little glass of night water. You're like, wow, your breath is funny. Listen, I thought you guys, I wanted you to know something. I'm not, if people are tuning in for the first time, because Uncle Seth, you guys, these are people's favorites, okay, for whatever reason. I am not what he's saying I am. Often I don't know what politics I'm following, but I will say this. Seth, you make me feel literally like some rabid MAGA guy. Literally, you make me feel like I threw a torch into the Capitol.
Yeah, but you make me feel like some hemp shoe wearing sunshine girl.
Fair point.
I traded sunshine girl 3 apples for some raisins. It's a kind of.
I know, but you're kind of hemp. Are you wearing some hemp right now? I think.
No, I am not really, but they're natural fibers.
Well, let's talk about this. Do you parent in a new world way?
It's funny because whenever somebody asks me what my parenting style is, I say old school.
You do, don't you?
Oh yeah. What do you think? You tell me.
Oh well, let's do it right now.
You know me as a parent.
Let's do it right now. So this isn't like our WAWTAR lidometer, which you took, but this is a different one. I think old school, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. At least male to male, there's going to be some corporal punishment. Old school, for sure. I had a little corporal punishment growing up, and I dished out very little when I was raising my girls, but I did dish some out. Did you ever dish any out?
It's funny.
Are you allowed to say?
Yeah, I can say for sure. When we were Alice and I were discussing parenting strategies, as the educator parents that we are, got to jump on that. We got to block it out.
That's true.
So I was like, oh yeah, that's on the table. And she said, that is off the table.
Ooh, okay.
And she's never been spanked. And around the Rahman household, they didn't spare the rod.
So this is a split household on that one.
Yeah, that's right. And so what happened was, what I always just tried to say is this. If you've given your daughter a timeout, if you've tried to reason, if you've taken things away or added things in,
sure,
incentives, and she's still running into the middle of the street, there has to be something that teaches the lesson. And a well-respected friend of mine. I love to call her my friend. She's really my mentor, and you know her, Mara Lipton.
Oh, I do know her. Yeah.
Who I foolishly tried to pass this philosophy off on, and she's just said that this is a failure, your failure to teach it well in the way it needs to be without that.
That's interesting.
And so what happened though is because I met my kids, I just don't have the heart to do it anymore. And we never had to.
Yeah.
I don't think there was just never they just listened to us when we made them understand. But I understand it's not as easy for people. I was hit. My parents always said, I love you afterwards.
Which is kind of crazy time.
I took a toy tool chest hammer and hammered about 50 hits into a plaster wall in my bedroom. I thought that was a good idea. And that cost me, Yep. And after I got the beating, I said, you're right. Dumb thing, dude.
This is it, right?
Lesson. That was dumb. See, the whole thing is that I learned that, not that I was bummed because I got caught. I learned that it was a dumb thing to do.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so
I like what you said. It depends, right? It depends on who you're working with. Like my girls didn't need that. Just once, little Nico, I think she was like 4 or 5, was like playing around in the oven and like turning it on. And then I was like, yeah, that's not happening. And I said, listen, if that doesn't scare you this well, and we did a little WAWTAR. I used one of those little like Korean bamboos. Did you ever see those things?
No.
Barely tapped her. She got freaked out. Yeah, it was a switch. It's a bamboo that clacks. One of my, you know who gave it to me? A Korean student who was he was visiting. What do you call him? He was a exchange student. This was on Long Island. And he watched me try to teach these New World kids on Long Island without any corporal punishment. And so when he left, he saw some frustration. And he gave me that as a gift. They use it in lower schools in Korea, and they go clack, clack, clack. And I scared my little girl and spanked her. And it worked. She still talks about it.
Okay.
Bad or good?
I think these, so if that's how old school is defined, then that's one thing I'm old school.
Okay, that's one
about,
thing.
Yeah.
That's one thing. Here's another one. I find this very old school. Do you guys play roles? So in Africa, especially, the father is not doing certain things. He'll discipline, but he's not teaching up, at least not in the traditional way in the village. I mean, in the New World way. Or in Guatemala, the mother and the father have different roles. Did you guys set out to create 2 roles, or were you trying to play the same role?
No, there is no division of roles. There are some natural divisions that have come around naturally, but not because they're natural divisions. Like, I hustle and take care of property. You know what I mean? Like fix things, just because like
I got you.
I'm ready to go take care of stuff. But to the point that my daughters, and one's coming up again. When we have to talk about menstruation,
ladies and gentlemen, he knows how to pronounce it.
You know what's interesting? Well, what's interesting is I'm curious. Does menstruation get beeped out on this podcast? What's the level of,
No, we keep schmortion and menstruation. We keep both of those in.
Menstruation.
Yeah. What about that?
I said I'm
you rolled in. You rolled in and gave advice on that.
What? Of course. I grew up with
That's
3
new
sisters.
world.
You know why?
Straight new
because
world.
I don't want my daughters to ever think there are certain things you talk to your mom about, and there's certain things you talk to your dad about. That's creating divisions.
Okay, so you don't like that. So
just
you probably were
no
also
way.
like. You were probably in the delivery room, like down at the bottom, like catching the baby. Were you doing that one too? Because I did not do that.
I was in the delivery room. I was
in the delivery room, but I stayed up high. You didn't go there. Did you?
No,
went down there?
No, they don't need my help.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's that's like the last little tiny little.
These
little
are weird
part of,
questions to decide if you're new world or old world.
Okay, well, let's do it.
Here, I've got one that I can add to this, and I just talked about this.
Parenting old world, new world.
In a place where I work, we have a mixture of old school Latino families that are sort of getting pushed out because this is sort of a gentrified area, and gentrified parents. And because I work in this district, here is the questions I'm asked at the first question I'm asked at parent teacher conference from the old school parents. And it really doesn't matter where they're from. I mean, a lot of times they are immigrants, but it doesn't matter what country they're from.
Isn't that interesting though? It's interesting.
Yeah, Bosnia, Ecuador, Spain, you name it. This is the first question. How is my child acting in your classroom?
It's true.
You know what the gentrifier's first question is? How are you challenging my child?
That's great.
You think it's a joke? It's not a joke. For folks at home, that's literally how it goes. And so there you are. Put that into your little Quizlet.
That's got to get in there. That's very telling. That is very telling. How are you challenging my child? That's definitely a new world concept, which is what, that's a also consumer-based conversation.
And so, you know how I answer that question, and not even how I answer it, how it plays out with my daughters, you know?
Yeah. How does that work?
Well, that's my first question is, how are my girls acting in your classroom? And
that's a great, that is your question.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because you have to, that's my question. I mean, it's not really my question. It's what I've seen, but it plays out in how I parent, which is my kids are going to come correct at school. And that's the baseline,
right?
You know,
first, your question is your question is not about the teacher, but it's about the kids. Yeah. That's a good dividing line. I like that. I'll throw that one in there too. You didn't like my corporal punishment is kind of an old school one. That's pretty straightforward.
I like the corporal. What was the second one you did?
It was weird. You brought up menstruation.
That's why. It's but actually that's another good question. That's a great question because that's really gets to the core of if you're going to, play in these types of.
Yeah, that's a role thing. And it is very old world. It's not old world for the father to sit down and talk about menstruation with his daughter. And I'm surprised you did that. And I lost a little respect for you tonight.
Did I have any left?
I'll
tell you this.
I watched your band. Your band is good. So you
okay. See, I got some credits.
You got credits.
Went up.
You still got a little left. But how does it sound?
Hey, for people in the listening audience, I would be remiss if I did not give a shout out to my band, Hilltop.
Yes, you have to.
I love these people so much that I just want to shout their name from the mountaintops.
From the hilltop. I just want to say you've been invited with another musician friend he was just nominated for a Grammy. Did you know Brunus was nominated for a Grammy? That's a fact.
No, but I believe it.
I
played with him when.
Yeah, you did play. That's true. Before he was.
I got something. Yeah.
Before he was writing all that music. Then we've got some Oberlin people, including L Georgia, and we're putting together a benefit concert down in Naples, as you know. So this is the type of commercial for that. That's an early December benefit concert.
We're there.
Okay. Seth, here's a question that I think, I don't know, you don't have to answer it, but
now I have to.
It's been 2 years basically of COVID stuff and culture's shifting. Is there something about the culture shifting that you care about, excited about, that makes sense, that you're scared of? Like, from your New World perspective, any of those stand out?
Well, listen, I'm going to answer this question with a question. At any time during this last year and a half, 2 years, really, because it's been 2 years, I'm even pre-pandemic, were you hopeful that there was going to be some kind of, I don't know what you're going to call it. Now, if I say this, now I really am going to sound like the Chicago Surfer, but some kind of awakening, oh, shoot. Awakening, bro.
I love it.
Or
I'm the one who gets accused of that because I say stuff like love and I don't care. I don't care. That's new. I'll own that. Okay. But go ahead. Yeah, awakening.
So, well, because here's what I'm saying. I mean, it's the optimistic pessimist who's really hurting. And that's who Todd was. Here's to Todd Fife.
Todd, yeah. We talked about him in one of our podcasts, right?
But I told Allison, remember at the beginning of this whole thing, everybody was like, oh, we're in this together. At least in my circles, that's what people were saying. You know, we're going to get through this together, whatever. And this is even before the mask mandates, right when it hit, you know, around St. Patty's Day. Mm-hmm. And nobody was actually sure. What if it does blow up, you know? Mm-hmm. And there was a feeling then that even though it was being discounted, people stood up when their schools were being canceled and whatever. They're saying, well, at least let me give it a couple of weeks and see if I think it's BS. I know a lot of people think it's BS now, but at that point, you know, you weren't sure, really. And there was a real feeling of an awakening, a realignment, you know, because people were staying home with their families more. You were spending time at home. Your kids were home from college. They were spending time that they never would have had with their high school sisters, because once they leave at 18, you don't live with your people anymore. Mm-hmm. And so, but I told Allison right off the bat, I guarantee a year from now, if this blows over, we're going to be right back to where we are. And now you see it. 15 months ago, they were heroes in Burger King drive-thru. You know,
now you're like, struggling. Give me my burger, bro.
Hour, 15 an hour for what? You know, and I knew it was going right back to that. I think everybody knew that. Let's face it. It, man.
Keep going with, what is that? Is it like callousness? What is it?
Yeah, it's just like, it's this march toward getting mine.
Yeah. I will say this, which is really real. I've been to Chicago many times, but the last time I went, I was reminded, I think it's your crew though, is people don't have, your friends are very welcoming. That they don't have that get mine attitude. No, they might.
I've been very lucky.
It's weird.
My friends are I've been blessed with the people around me.
No, they were very open. No. And they didn't question me. They weren't doing that spying thing. Now, in South Carolina, I've adopted South Carolina. You know, I've been here 3 years, off and on. South Carolinians, remember, this is not just like starting with COVID. South Carolinians, as you know, you teach history. They're willing to drop a middle finger on you, man. Like, it's like, really? I'm not listening to you until you demonstrate that. They're a little like New Yorkers in the South. Like, I don't need to do what you're telling me to do. And I like some of that attitude. But I will say, there is a pleasantness to your crew in Chicago. Do you think that was made more pleasant by the COVID? Or do you think people started to break away from that?
Yeah, actually, no. Knee jerk is to say no, because my people are just like those type of people. But
I see. You mean your close friends?
My close friends, right? But this whole experience has maybe just really sharpened what they already had. Because now the things that they were focusing on before, which was, family and the T word, tradition. And
wait a minute,
you guys see how I take
try
that
to
away
own
from
that.
you too?
I know you take that away. I like it.
Trademark
Trademark
tradition. You guys are out now. You can't use it unless you pay. And then
that's a very new world of you to trademark the word tradition.
Right.
Or for instance,
it's it's capitalist. This is how these capitalists will do it. And that's how I can't see how you're in bed with these people.
how am I in bed with? What are you talking about? I'm the one who doesn't want you to go around acting like Big Pharma is out for your interest.
Wait a minute.
I have to tell you something. Johnson & Johnson, they patented their own COVID disease. What's that about, bro?
John.
What?
And anybody that's listening to this podcast, if he answers incorrectly, stop listening to the podcast.
Okay. Is this it? This is the moment right here?
In America, are most Christians capitalists and are most capitalists Christians?
In America, people who call themselves Christians overwhelmingly identify as strong capitalists, yes.
And people who call themselves capitalists? My God.
Yes.
Okay,
Often. But you got a whole slew of capitalists, or I should say, libertarians who believe in a free market who aren't very Christian, bro. But that's real.
Oh, no, I'm saying consider themselves. I don't care about whether.
Oh, you're not getting into the granular data here? Okay.
Yeah, right. Yeah, if you call yourself a Christian, who are you to judge?
Okay, here we go.
All right.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Can I caveat that?
Yeah.
I go to church with Eastern Orthodox, old school, and a lot of them are not exactly raising the capitalist flag. FYI, I got to tell you, you're secular Indian,
you're always
Ukrainian self.
You're always trying to. You're never trying to bring up the fact that I'm secular. What you're trying to do is distance yourselves from the Protestants.
Well,
that's what you're doing.
Well, it's not like a thing I'm doing. I don't wake up saying, today the plan is to continue to distance myself. Listen, no, but let me just put it this way. Let's put it this way. You ready for this? Because this is really important. I could do a caricature of a New World left-leaning, crying Karen, and that's not you. That's not you.
Right. No, I'm saying those people, I have to shoulder them on my team. But then stop trying to not shoulder your teammates.
I see. So you shoulder them.
Yeah, that's right. I shouldered the Karens.
Wait, ladies and
but a lot of these Karens end up being.
I'm owning.
Well, no, I'm saying, but a lot of these Karens actually end up being on your team too. I take that back.
By the way, I knew you were going to say that because I know that that's the idea of Karen is that they're on whatever my team is.
Yeah.
Caveat.
There's on my team too.
Well, what's the caricature? What's the? I mean, okay. Can we take a woman, for example, who you accidentally called a man or something? You use the wrong pronoun, and then all hell hits. What about that?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, if your reaction,
what about every college kid that walks the face of the earth right now? How about that?
Yeah, if your reaction is inordinate to the situation, and you don't care if somebody's sticking a camera in your face, then you're a Karen. And I know that actually there's people getting pissed right now because I'm saying Karen, because you're not supposed to say it anymore.
Oh, because it's bad female pub or what?
Correct. It's folded in on itself. It's
no way.
Yeah.
How do you keep up with what was that from reading Reddit? How did you just learn that?
No. That's Leftist Journal. Leftist.
Is that actually called the Leftist Journal?
No. I'm kidding. Woke hot. Journal. Woke.
No, I get woke journal delivered by a paper boy in the morning.
That's not woke.
I know it all.
Exploitation,
That's
brother.
a joke. So, okay, so your 2-year look back, that was interesting. I didn't see that coming. I see what I do think. Okay, can I sound woke for a second? I think
Ask your audience, man. You don't have to ask me.
It doesn't. I don't. They're good people, man. They're trying to mostly
I know they're
support our
woke.
work.
You know what? I'm telling you, and I keep saying this, but I really believe this. I think that most of the people listening to this podcast, my positions are your positions in so many ways.
Is that true?
Yes, I really believe that.
Well, let me try to clarify that, because that's what I wanted to say, I think, which is, if you, let's say I had to teach a course on what's happening. The thing that's happening above all else, from my perspective, the perspective of whatever kind of Christian I am, and the perspective I get from overseas, it's very clear, is the hyper-individualism is dying. It can't sustain itself.
Yes.
And the consumer part of that is not going to die easy, because people are selling to those people. And there is a very sick symbiotic relationship there. Well, it's not symbiotic. That's the problem. It's dying. And let me put it this way. It's not dying. It's alive and well, but it needs to die because it's going to destroy the culture. So that does not sound very what you call my people-ish, does it? That doesn't sound, that's dying. It's dying. We can't keep doing this. So number two, if that's true, what comes in its place? It's the coming in its place thing that we argue about. You are like, science is coming in its place, technologically driven, smart decisions like cars without drivers make our lives better.
Why are you so disdainful of cars?
I just listened to Malcolm Gladwell, who I generally like because I just think he does good shows, but he's very hyped about a car. Now, I didn't hear the whole thing yet, but I just say this. I think you find salvation in something like really smart, sciencey people doing really cool things. And my people on this, whatever that is, they do not trust that scene. So
yeah, but it's so, I find this so curious. It's the same thing. You know, all the old worlders are arguing for is that there's something else out there. And all the new worlders are saying, we think we know what the something else is.
yeah, I agree
which
with
is just trying to live by values that both sides agree on. Look out for people. Give a if a stranger asks you to help them.
Mm-hmm.
Think deeply about things in life. Doesn't have to be like the origin of life. That's the only thing that separates us. We're thinking deeply about the same things in life. Only thing is you're saying it came from somewhere, and I'm saying it's in us, and we manifested it. And that's the only difference. And then, but that becomes the big divide.
I see. That's
And that,
well said.
And
so it doesn't, you're saying it doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. But as long as you attack me, I'll attack back.
So then the question is if I want to assert it as of import, it's important that we do consider the origins. Is that when the narrative goes sideways, say in a group of your people?
No, I think my people are happy to, you want to insert it as something to, what did you say? Insert it as someone to.
Something of import. Something like, well, we don't want to skip over the origins.
No, but we can't get lost about what the overarching message is in pursuit of an answer that is unknowable.
Okay, there you go. Okay, that's helpful.
Is that fair?
Yeah, I think, ladies and gentlemen, you're seeing that. Well, yeah, You described well where
Generally, well,
the
we
conversation
agreed that
ends.
we
right?
no, because we agreed that in action we are going to be the same, right? Generally.
Generally, yeah. But
Okay, so in action we're the same. What I'm saying is that if we are in such pursuit of the origins of that
the right
inspiration for
actions,
that action that I might not do the action, I think that's stupid.
okay, I get that.
If
You can be
see what I'm saying?
moral
if you
without
want to
my
do God's
God.
work, if you want to do God's work as you see it, and I'm doing it, but I don't believe it came from him, it'd be stupid to discourage me from doing that work
Yeah, I think that's why
in
we're
pursuit
friends.
of making me understand that where it came from. It doesn't make sense.
I think that makes a lot of sense, but I'll just say one other thing. Did you see Jon Stewart on Colbert's show?
No.
Did you see that clip?
Recently?
Yeah, it's really funny. I'll send it to you. But basically, they're friends or whatever, but he shows up and he basically says, look, if scientists can do it, they'll do it. Like, one of the problems with the scientism model, which you do never freak out about, I'd freak out about all the time, the notion that the belief is in science and we should follow it, is that scientists, they do whatever they can do because that's the nature of the event. Like, why did you build a nuclear bomb? Because we can. Why do we do this? Because we can. Why do we do this? Because we can. I mean, why build a Google car? Because you can. None of those conversations to me are that interesting. Yeah, I know you can do it, but why would you? And I feel like the New World people, once I start to get too heavy on the why, what happens is now I become a God guy. Oh, there he goes. He doesn't want to let technology and progress happen because of God.
Well, okay. My point, and probably my people's point, would be, why are you letting the pursuit of why get it? What is the benefit to you of the pursuit of why?
Well, one is it instructs me how to live my life.
Okay. Okay. Now, just let me stop you there. What if I'm living my life in the exact same way you are? So next, what else? Another way.
Well, okay, exact. I might take issue with, but you generally are a moral. Let's go.
Hey, you've been to the grotto, I see.
I have. This is the moral question: whether or not someone who doesn't believe in God could be moral. The answer, letting you know, from this side of the screen is yes. You can be moral. No, it's not even a debate.
You've said to me directly, looked me in the face and said, "Oh, then if you're some nihilist, where are you gonna? Who cares?"
Because the next question is how do we decide on what we should not do? Because you can be the guy who's like, we'll know in our heart. Okay, how's that going?
Chicago Surfer is back. Sal. His name is Sal.
Sal, the Chicago Surfer. Dude, you'll know when it's wrong. Okay, I just want to know how we can talk about it, because this is my point exactly, which is, part of being human is not just saying what I can do, but what I can't do. And then you got to be able to, like a kid. Why can't I do that, Papa? You got to be able to explain that. At least you got to be able to demonstrate that it's bad. And so your people are always just running down the road. And then you're like, why? Because we can. That's not healthy. It's unhealthy.
No. You're getting away from the question is that, what does the pursuit of the why do for you? Because ultimately, honestly, the pursuit of the why, what it does for you is some eternal salvation or, entrance into the kingdom. I don't know what you call it, but let's be honest.
I love when you do like Jerry Falwell, like you saw a show in the 80s or something, and those the last
stuck with me.
Christian words you spoke.
It was Tammy Faye. Those nails.
That's stuck with me. I'm gonna recall
entrance in the kingdom of heaven. Seraphim.
Wait, Wait, that's
showed up.
That's the angel with the wings. Is that what you're going with right now? I love it.
Like
Who said it? Was it Martin Luther
playing
King?
the bones.
He said, here's the problem with arguing with you, basically. I think it was King. It was a lot of people said this, but he said, here's the problem with arguing with you is I don't agree God's in the clouds either. So you got to stop saying stuff like that.
No, I know that. No, but again, you're not even going to own that. Give me a break.
The God's in the clouds?
No, you're not going to own the people on your side that think he's in the clouds and whatever. And let's face it.
That's a nonsense. It's nonsense.
No, I'll tell you why. Why it's not nonsense. You have a crucifix up, or do you have some kind of icon, Jesus icon?
I got icons, yeah.
Okay. What are they? Looking like they're white guys in the middle of the Middle East?
Oh, you must be crazy. Do you want me? Oh, no. Ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. He didn't put me up this, ladies and gentlemen, but I think he's going to show some icon.
Can I?
Yeah, for sure, man.
I'll get one right now.
Great.
Okay. And this just happens to be in my room.
I don't want people to think I'm picking some fight with, and again, orthodoxy. If I were going to break onto your side, that's where I'm going,
That's where you're going.
But if you try to tell somebody that how could Jesus be this blonde-haired, blue-eyed dude, flowing locks.
You're right.
It's just ridiculous. It doesn't make sense.
I'm going to show you this.
Doesn't make sense.
I'm going to go get it. Andrew, you can cut this. I'm bringing it right now. You ready?
Okay.
I think what we're talking about right now is the idea that you got to stop selling crazy, because you were talking about Tammy Faye and I was saying you're quoting stuff about that's kind of like not real. And then you said, well, you got to stop selling white Jesus or whatever. So this is an icon written, okay, by Christians who started their Christianity in the 300s. So what I'm saying is they've been writing this kind of icon, painting this kind of icon.
Ground floor. They got in on the ground floor.
Yeah, like 1,400 years before there was even Thomas Jefferson, okay? Before there was even an America. They're 1,400 years before that. And so what were they writing, and what have they been writing or painting? That.
Okay.
Now,
all right.
You can call that a white Jesus if you want.
No, I can get behind that, JC. All right.
Because that, dude, look, ladies and gentlemen.
Like me.
I think I'm talking to that guy right now. So that icon has been that's 1,500 years over again. And by the way, those are people from the Georgians from the Caucasus, like the Caucasians.
I know that. So hey, I'm from the Caucasus. I'm Indian.
That's what I'm trying to say to you.
Yeah.
And so you keep lumping me in. I'm fine.
No, I'm just saying.
Right
listen,
there. Look at that. If you're listening to this and you're not seeing it, you're seeing a very uniquely looking brown person who literally looks like a hippie with very brown, dark skin and whatever. That's what you're seeing.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Well, listen, yet again, you're making orthodoxy look good in comparison to why should you feel bad about that? It's a compliment. You're making orthodoxy look good in comparison to,
do you think,
shall I say it?
So the American Christian experiment is over.
I don't think it's over. I think it's quite the opposite. I think it's the one, because Americanism catches on like a disease, like a virus in India. Seriously, because it's American Christianity that's going to catch on like a virus, and it will be spread through culture. And the American culture is what is the transmitter, and it's really infecting all parts of society. I know this is going sad.
Did anyone
Well, I don't
listen
know
to
where
that
this happened.
vocab?
People know. Okay.
Literally, COVID
Andrew
is
got
American
that as well.
Christianity. You're gonna, boy. I got there's some guys getting in their trucks right now in Greenville, and they're driving to Chicago. Right this second. Right this second, they're like, I know where he lives. It's Lincoln. If we drive around long enough,
the Naperville of Chicago.
Yeah, he just kept saying Naperville. Just go there. Listen,
They're going to find themselves in a quaint town if they make it there.
into Naperville.
Seriously. Naperville. Yeah, it's a quaint, like older town. I don't know why I use that. Sometimes I interchange.
What's the other
Schaumburg.
one? Schaumburg. Nice. All right, let's wrap this up, man, because that was an interesting way to end, I think.
So, John, can you bring up, one of the disagreement? Because this should end always, yeah.
Yes. We can't break the format.
Yeah, no, because it has to be there. That's what people rely on. And just make some bullshit up, whatever.
No, it's not. There was real things being said.
Yeah, right.
Well, let me just look real quick. One of the comments, now remember, we haven't talked in a while.
Yeah.
But I did get some comments
and
that
the
were
last
coming.
one we did was the death calculator.
Yeah, for sure. That was fantastic. So a couple comments are, Seth often talks about, well, this is the exact quote. Seth talks about how God isn't in some baby's smile face. You've said that before.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
You don't like when people say there's proof for God. Yeah, that one's. So he's like, so if there was a God, how would Seth think he might know that God?
Whoa, good question.
If it's not in the baby smiling face.
If there was a God, how would I know? Well, I'll tell you this. God is giving me a lot more credit than he gave a bunch of backwater people when he was parting seas. You know? You know what I mean? Like all of a sudden he's demanded that I pick up on these things. Oh, I see God in the smile, where he was doing
before miracles. He was like,
before he was a magician. That's right. He's like doing parlor tricks and stuff. And then people are like, oh yeah, Jesus, or God, I mean, I don't know all the things he did. Have a wedding? Should I have a wedding? I feel gypped. I want to have a food and wine free wedding courtesy of Jesus.
So this is the proud inclination in you.
I'll tell you,
which is if he's not doing me the big parlor tricks, then I'm not going to pay attention to him.
Let me. I think I don't know. I think that there is God in my daughter's smiles, but what you guys call God, I call something else. And we're talking about the same thing here, but you or whoever just made this comment want to ascribe it to something that is outside of us so as to make it something bigger, because anytime I talk about it's inside of us, you feel that's limiting in its power and majesty. And I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
That's fair. I think it's both, and it's not limiting to say that God is within you. That makes perfect sense. God's in all things. Otherwise, or maybe not. I don't know. But okay, here's another one. This is another one.
Okay.
It goes back to the same question I was asking, but I think it's interesting. Seth doesn't seem scared of the government. Don't let him say anything different when they come knocking on his door. That one's hot. Dude, when they come knocking on your door, you have to say, I'm not afraid of no government.
The Clash song, Guns of Brixton. People, everybody, go to your Pandora, Google, whatever you do. Guns of Brixton by The Clash. But it says, when they kick in your front door, how you gonna come with your hands on your head or the trigger of a gun?
There you go.
Okay.
You know what you're going
probably,
with. Going with your sitar.
I'll music them into peace.
Girls, get behind me. I'm going to play a neat melody.
An early sunrise Hindustani rag that has been known to calm the cobra.
By the way, I kind of want you to come do that for me when they come. That was good. That might work. Dude, that was beautiful. All right, here's one more. The last one. I like this one. Are you guys really friends?
I love when this always comes up, this one. I don't know, on paper, we should not be friends.
Well,
maybe that's God there, that's science's paper.
Something's there.
But there's something there that is intangible.
I don't try to explain it. No, I will say this, though. You had a series of texts not so long ago where I might not have been your friend for much longer.
I know. Sometimes I feel combative,
But they're not really. I love them. They make me laugh and think. But I think for the people who come on our podcast, and we'll end with this, or you can make a comment, but the people who sort of, they come from the Orthodox Christian point of view, they just don't get how comfortable you are all the time with various like creeping mandates and things. That they're not trying to like whip up a civil war. They're just thinking.
I understand that.
There is this trust you have that's weird.
They think it's just some blind trust. It's not. I err on the side of what I think is the rational side to err on.
Right.
I'm erring on the side that there's a virus out there. Whether it's overplayed, whether you're not as many people, only 0.1 are going to die instead of 1%, whatever. I'm going to err on the side of what every country on the planet has deemed good protocol. Because if you don't think,
except for those three where their prime ministers all got killed,
correct, is suspiciously.
I wish I had that ready to go. I think it was
steel cannot melt at 1200 degrees, so So I just err on that side, and then I think it's not that far away from you trying to paint me as some like, oh, I trust the government with everything they say is the truth. No, I know that. I know there's evil cabals out there. Bilderberg Group, for one.
Don't get me started.
I know you would like that. I just threw a little chum there for you.
I didn't bite it on it.
I know.
Because I don't really care in the end. It's just in history. You see these things.
No, I know.
There's oligarchies.
I think you said something really sharp there. Andrew, do not cut this. I've been saying cut all the night, and now I'm saying don't cut this. And I don't even know what's going to come out. So actually, I might say cut it later. You just said something really, really sharp in the end. And so that's what we're all doing here.
Yeah.
Is what are we going to do? I've got 15 years left, man. How I'm going to spend that 15 years in the end. What is the consequence of not only my actions, because everybody is easy to, but my thinking too.
Okay.
And you could call it worship, whatever you want, about my time. What's the consequence of my time?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that mine is squandered.
I think you're about an era away from being an ancestor worshiper. And I don't mean that in a negative way at all.
No, I take that as a compliment.
I watch you live for your kids in a venerable way. And so I think that's 95% of humanity that's come into what we call this world. Generally, that's the final religion most people live by. And if you look at the old world, ancestor worship is about that. It's about venerating the thing you've left behind.
And I think that
That's what happens.
In a world where none of us have any answers about anything, that's the closest we can come to something that is legit. You
Right.
know?
And that's
why I
maybe
think
where we agree,
cultures-
right?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Because this
yeah.
culture kind of rips apart.
That's it. That's
hard-
it.
yeah,
There's so
it's-
when I was growing up, I told you, I may have said this in another podcast. When it was my sister's birthday, my buddies wanted to go out and play football. No, I couldn't go out and play football. It was my sister's
I
birthday.
remember, yeah.
Yeah. That's what it is, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think we can agree.
Yeah,
See
big
how-
time. Maybe
Hey.
that's the thing that stitches. Hey, ladies and
He's
gentlemen.
nuts.
Guys, it's all going to be fine. All right, Uncle Seth, it's time. But let's not do 2 months this time. Let's hear from you in a month. I thought you disowned me after my podcast on conspiracies. I thought that was the end.
It was a little off the rails.
A little off the rails.
It was a little off the rails, but I'm always happy to come back and talk.
All right. So that's Uncle Seth. This is what. Sorry, Uncle Seth, I cut you off. This is WAWTAR. Brother, come back, right? And then also we'll see you for this benefit concert. And you can find Hilltop in Chicago if you search it out and go on Facebook. And so, but we'll get more information on that. So this is WAWTAR. You guys have been listening to the Uncle Seth. He knots up some loose ends, and we thank you for listening. Remember to support us by listening to the podcast, but also go check us out at www.first-things.org. We're basically not even in the business of philosophy. We're in the business of serving folks around the world and trying to help them build their vision of something like a cool life, man. So that's what we do. That's what this podcast is for, is networking and getting you to see where we're coming from. This is Uncle Seth. I'm John Heers. Gagi Marjos, Nak Van Dies, and check you out next time.